Hello John, this is my entry in your 100 subs contest. Congratulations on reaching your milestones, well deserved. Anybody, if you're watching this and haven't checked out John's channel, make sure you do so. He's a very genial host and has a great channel. Now John, you asked the question about inherited records. And I sort of tend to think all records that we haven't bought new or have bought secondhand are inherited in some fashion, that they've had a life previous to us and come into our possession for a time and go into somebody else's when the time comes. But I think your question is more on a personal level, and I've got one record to show you like that I've actually just acquired. I actually lost my mum a few months ago after a long illness, and I'd sort of been thinking about a couple of the records that were at the old house that I had to go back and get, that I used to listen to as a youngster. So I have this to show you. Everybody knows this record. This is a mono copy on Rainbow Capital label, which I guess actually, now that I know a bit more about record collecting and labels, I guess that's actually the original. We sort of didn't know that at the time. Back when I was probably like early teens and getting interested in music, my parents and I would go around to the flea markets, and back then it was more like the garage sales and yard sales are now, where you would go to these flea markets and it would be just people setting up tables, selling bric-a-brac from their house and clearing out their junk, and you would have the odd old hippie or whatever that would have a few records. So we would go around and I would start learning about kind of the music of their generation, pick up the odd record like this. So this was one of them that we bought, probably for $1 or $2. We didn't know anything about pressings or anything like that. We just bought it for the music, and we would listen to it on the old stereo in the family home. We never had a lot of records growing up. We didn't know anything about storing them or caring for them. So I mean, obviously it's not in great shape. The cover's pretty beat up. Vinyl's reasonably okay. A few little light scratches. But yeah, we didn't have a lot of records. There were a few that my parents had when they were younger. My mom had some Peter, Paul and Mary and Judy Collins and that sort of thing. And my dad had a few cool 45s, Dave Clark 5, and I think there might have been one or two Beatles ones and things like that. And other than that, just kind of the usual records you see at the thrift stores. Military marching band music and that kind of thing. That's what my dad was into. So anyway, that is one that I've recently decided I would go back and bring into my collection and sort of hang on to for sentimental value. And as far as passing records on, you were talking about, and this was actually kind of the toughest part of your question. I've been racking my brain what to talk about for that, because like all the records in my collection are kind of special to me, I guess you'd say. So I was trying to figure out which one particular one I would pick out, and I decided to go with this one. This is a reggae one. It is a 12-inch single on the Joe Gibbs label. That is Pat Kelly, It's a Good Day. It's a disco mix with an extended version with a very nice DJ cut by Ranking Trevor, and a dub version on the B-side. This was one I picked up quite a few years ago, kind of as I was first starting to pick up the odd piece of reggae vinyl. I think it was about $8 or $10 at the time, which really seemed like a lot of money to me. I was kind of hesitating whether to buy it or not, but I decided to go for it, and it's just a fabulous tune that kind of sums up everything that is special to me about that music, and it just has a positive outlook on life, sometimes in spite of difficult circumstances. So I thought I would present that as an example of one that I would like to pass on down. And as far as what will happen to my collection at some point, I've talked a little bit, I think, in my Robert Z response video about how I think of my collection as a library. So, you know, I've got the Beatles there, I've got Led Zeppelin, and kind of all those important things to kind of give you an idea of what was going on in music in previous decades and up to the present. And I think that stuff is sort of important to have in there. My kids are still pretty little. They're just not really interested in music yet, but I can tell they're kind of listening and checking things out. So I haven't really made any concrete plans for my collection, but we'll see when they're a little older if something takes, and if they get interested in it, then we'll take it from there. And if not, I guess I have no problem selling it off when the time comes. So that is my response to your questions. I hope that that answers it fully, and congrats on your milestone. Well done. Many more to come, and peace.